Come tend the garden with me.
Hey, you can call me Jay, and I'll be very honest, this is kind of strange because I haven't been on any social media in like 3.5, 4 years. I was born in 1991, and I don't know what that might mean to you, but to me, that means I was born in a generation that has significant childhood memories that both involve and do not involve the internet at our fingertips. And I'm thinking about the internet today because for a while now, I've been in a place in life where I didn't really know how to approach it anymore. The pandemic made me a little quieter, more reserved, maybe more like how I used to be when I was a child. Not so much vying for attention, but rather wishing and waiting to be seen. And in my return to a more reluctant self after all that was whatever 2020 was, I stopped sharing so much. I retracted words I once published, images I had proudly displayed, and opinions I meant with my entire heart. And it wasn't because I was ashamed. At least I don't think it was, and I really don't think it was because I was afraid of what others thought either. Honest, I think I just fell into the school of thought that the world didn't deserve to know me the way it used to. It lost my trust, and to be frank, I didn't care what the world thought about anything either. And I was tired, I think many of us were, of giving our best. Something about how it was growing to be made me feel betrayed, I guess. And by who? I really couldn't tell you, if I really think about it. Was it the news, its algorithm, the loud ones that the internet validated instead of, the ones who really ought to be seen? I don't know. I swear I just feel like the world encountered a crazy metaphoric warfare somewhere between then and now, and I just chose to take it all personally. So, the internet. I took one last look at it, all the people in it, and how it is in relation to myself. And I thought, audaciously, that I am better than it. Them, all of it. And I didn't want to prove myself to anyone anymore. I quietly stepped out for a while. You hear a lot of people say this, but I really think it's true that you and I are standing in a very unique corner of history, where the speed in which the growth of whatever you want to call this, the World Wide Web, technology, sharing of life, it's absorbing us at a pace where we really are not being given enough room for hindsight. We can't catch up to its evolution, and as we all just try to go about doing the best we can each day with packing our lunches, trying to figure out who we are, doing our jobs, I just feel like there's this immense shortage of grace offered to us from one another, from the collective, to be just beautifully human about it all. We can't afford to make a mistake, because then people like my past self, the one who grew very comfortable on her high horse without a mirror, people like her will take that moment of yours and encapsulate the entirety of who you are as a person into this bite-sized, processed idea that the internet has categorized and delivered in a way that confirms our biases. And in hindsight, I don't necessarily blame the old me for having grown so cold, right? I think it's required in a healthy life to experience seasons. But what I realized with a lot of therapy in between then and now is that I don't want to be a part of a system that perpetuates the idea that people can't show up unless they have all their messy stuff figured out and cleaned up. I think because of how interconnected our lives have become with the internet and what it has shown to do to our subconscious, a lot of us are paralyzed by self-infliction of perfectionism. Because what we do and who we are may not be at its best version possible or worth being documented according to some arbitrary standard. And so therefore, we aren't going to get credit somehow. So why is it worth doing anything? Isn't that so funny if you really spell it out loud? And the people we could get credit from, we ironically convince ourselves that we no longer need them. So, in a way, we're telling ourselves that us alone are not worthy of enjoying something, and we can only enjoy something in life if it is a byproduct of being productive. What if all of that stuff that gets to happen in the process of getting from point A to point Z, we didn't label it as meaningless in our own story? That not only do we make space for it, but that space is good. We opt into a narrative that despite what the internet informs us, we don't have to only think that the best is the best and the worst is the worst, and that everything else that falls in between doesn't really matter. Maybe the in-between, unkept cross-section of the processes we get to go through are the parts that really ought to be shared the most with one another. Because it's in that nuance that we get to remind ourselves that we are distinctly human in what we get to do. And we're not robots, right? It's our most essential asset. It's precious and exciting, and it's those things because it's never quite the same. What if we afforded one another the opportunities to show this? I don't know, maybe you're a lot better at all of this than me, so forgive me as I tell you what you may have already known, but you're catching me trying something different. This is me falling out of line and inviting you into the process before the final product of something I've been working on. Falling out of line from being a robot on the internet, something I used to be really good at until I wasn't. There's an incredible sense of freedom in letting go of control, I've learned. And it's okay with not explaining my imperfections to anyone or justifying the existence of my need to have a creative process. I can do hard things, and you know what? I can also relax. I hope the things I get to share with you can remind you that there is so much freedom found in being true to who you are. You deserve to feel free. You deserve to feel like you.